Aristotle was fond of saying that we have scientific knowledge of something demonstrable when we possess a demonstration of it. And he was no less fond of repeating that we have scientific knowledge when we know the cause. If you know the cause of it, you have scientific knowledge. Now, that would totally invalidate a lot of science today, wouldn't it? Aristotle would say it's not scientific knowledge right now. You don't even know anything about it. If all you can give is statistics, let me give you an example. 88% of reported cancer cases on the planet Earth are reported by people who use porcelain toilets. Actually, there's probably, if we looked into that though, now that's just making that up, if we looked into that, there's probably more people who don't use porcelain toilets who get cancer anyway, so we can't give a cause and effect relation between porcelain toilets and cancer, because a lot of people live in the jungle, don't use porcelain toilets. They do get cancer, but those don't get reported. They die of it. No one ever knows they had cancer. They're not part of the statistics. So they skew the bit, and it makes it look like porcelain toilets cause cancer. But it also makes it look radios cause cancer, and cell phones, you know. So you can't say I have a statistical correlation. Someone, let's see, Leonard Peikoff mentioned that the famine in one province of India and the number of semicolons in the pages of the New York Times went up and down together over a period of time. Now, if you're ingenious enough in picking your correlations and your statistics, Peikoff makes the point. If you're really tricky, you can prove almost anything. So you don't have scientific knowledge, Aristotle said a long time ago, and people still haven't gotten the point. You don't have scientific knowledge until you have knowledge of the cause. What causes this? As Peikoff said, at the most you can do is say, I have a statistical reason to investigate further in this direction. Statistics point you in a direction. Nowadays, you come out with a statistical barrage and you're done. Skipping down a bit. Now we're just in the introduction. We haven't got to Aristotle himself yet, so if you think it's thick right now. Now, there's a sentence that's impossible. We're going to skip. It goes 3.5 lines, and we're just jumping in the middle of it, and it's fine. We'll be able to get a full thought, because I think the earlier part might be modern academic drivel. Not sure. Not sure. I can't understand it, because there's too much there that's going on. So I'm just going to skip that. Quote, we're talking about that inductive process by which universals and primary premises are derived from sense perception and experience. Whatever the hell they were saying before that. There is an inductive process by which universals and primary premises, universals, you know, like the things about the stars, about all lightning storms, are derived from sense perception and experience. Now, this is very widely agreed upon by everybody, except some people. I heard Rabbi Boteya arguing with Chris Hitchens, haranguing him something. Do you agree that all of our information is from the five senses? Okay, then blah, blah, blah. He probably doesn't believe it's all from the five senses, but even he's aware of this argument. Aristotle upheld this argument. Ayn Rand upholds this argument. And if you argue against this argument, you're using it. But the primary premises of scientific demonstration, however, are not themselves subject to scientific proof. Okay? You got that? You can't scientifically prove the premises of scientific demonstration. What the hell does that mean? Some people that might be concretizable like that for some people. They say, oh, so I have to have a basis from which I can go from. You can prove and prove and prove and prove, and you get to a bottom thing which you know, five senses. Now, it's obvious to say that all of our information comes into the five senses, but to say that all valid knowledge that we have in here can be brought back down to the five senses is an extra step. But if you put those two together it looks obviously logical that they would just go, it's obvious. If all of our information that we have comes through the five senses, then capitalism or any other real, valid, actual valid idea can be traced to the five senses. And if you put that with the corollary that all information we have comes from the five senses, they're corollaries, you have them. Then, when you have something like that and you suspect it, and all your rational faculty points towards it, you don't know it. Those of you who are just grasping that that's a corollary, and that goes both ways, so to speak, still don't know it. You have to get inside and know all the particulars up and down to know it, to claim knowledge about it. Like Aristotle says, you don't know it till you have knowledge of the cause. In fact, what if you looked into it, and Peikoff and Rand and Aristotle and Cropper were all full of crap? So you got to look into it. But that is what we are doing, isn't it? The primary premises of scientific demonstration, however, are not themselves subject to scientific proof, although they may be tested in indirect dialectical examination. Indirect dialectical examination. Let me put that easily for you. We can put our basic premises in the form of axioms. There. In like manner, the resolution of difficulties and the discovery of principles are dialectical problems so long as they turn on the establishment and defense of propositions. And don't fuzz out on me, just forget that part, because now we get to a meaningful part. They become scientific only when they are related to the statement of a basic cause. Now, a dialectical problem, again, quote, is the dialectical problem, quote, as long as it turns on the establishment and defense of propositions. So as long as you're talking about propositions, it's dialectical. It's a dialectical issue. Once you're talking about causes, which means it has to mean an event in the real world, a cause, doesn't it? It means an event in temporal time and space. Once you talk about causes, it's scientific. But until you talk about causes, you're only dialectical. Aristotle would immediately take 85 to 90% of all the research in our universities and flush it down the toilet. He would say, this is not scientific. This is nonsense. That's what Aristotle would do. And he knew the basis to do that a long time ago. It's not that we've advanced beyond Aristotle, it's that we've forgotten him, and we're in big trouble because the scientific revolution was brought about on his ideas. And everybody today knows Aristotle's full of crap. Although Aristotle first formulated the distinctions and technical terms in which much of the later discussion of scientific method was conducted, in other words, he set the premises, he gave the terms, and later science developed basically in his context. Quote, his own distinctions have been used in criticism of his logic. So, how's that? He sets the groundwork that everybody has to use from then on. The teacher got corrected. The teacher was corrected. Analytica Posteriora. Contents. Book 1. The student's need of pre-existent knowledge. The nature of pre-existent knowledge. Now it goes on. That's the first section of Book 1. We're going to go ahead and go to that now. Book 1, Analytica Posteriori. Posterior Analytics, translated by G.R.G. Muir, M-U-R-E.